What's up? Welcome to the Cardinals Squad Show. Mike McDaniel is fired. How much would he work well with Kyler Murray here in Arizona? Benjamin Garcia, host of the Ben Garcia Show, host of Locked On Phoenix Suns. We'll talk about it.
I'm Jamil Douglas, former NFL offensive lineman. How enticing is the Cardinals' job this far?
Donnie Druin, Cardinals on that side. The Cardinals coaching list continues to expand, but there's a couple notable absences on the list. Is Michael Bidwill capable and willing to pull out the wallet and get some of the biggest names open on the market?
Rise up, Red Sea. It's the Cardinals Squad. Everything Arizona Cardinals every week. Covering all the big hits and game-changing plays from the Valley of the Sun. The way only the Locked On Podcast Network can. Gear up and squad up. The Cardinals Squad Show starts now.
What is up? Welcome into the Cardinals Squad Show. Wherever you may be listening, however you may be listening, thank you so much for making us and this show a part of your day. However you may be listening, watching, viewing the Arizona Cardinals Squad Show, we appreciate you guys doing that. But remember, Locked On Cardinals Squad Show is free and available on all platforms, including YouTube. So hit that follow or subscribe button to do it. Thousands of Cardinals fans have already done. Become an everyday and get locked on the Arizona Cardinals right here each and every day. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. Donnie has been doing some sixth manning, if you will. If we're talking some NBA here. Our very own Joe Johnson, Leandro Barbosa, if you will. Donnie is in, Clancy is out. I was put in timeout the other day. They didn't want me having anything crazy when Jonathan Gannon got fired. But now we do have another person fired, which who knows what this had in relation to. But Mike McDaniel has been fired, and I want to talk about if he's a good fit for the Cardinals, but also the graphic on there is wrong. We'll get it fixed in just a minute. His success with Tua Tagovailoa, and if that as well as should entice the Cardinals even more, given their quarterback is also kind of slight in frame. Jamil, when you saw the Mike McDaniel news, head coach potentially. I know you're a big guy of the Miami Dolphins. I know you're a big Miami Dolphins guy, but which kind of your take here?
Look, we talked about it before. Some guys make better coordinators than they do head coaches. I think Mike McDaniel falls in that category, and that's not a knock on him for his coaching style. I just don't believe that he establishes culture, to the point of he wants to run administration and all those type of things. I do think he is a phenomenal play caller. I think given, if we're speaking in terms of the Cardinals, offensive line has been up and down. Offensive line play has been up and down. Mike McDaniel is, one of the top schemers in the game. He can hide your deficiencies on offense. He can, get in advantageous looks. And from a quarterback standpoint, Mike McDaniel does not need a top 10, top 5 quarterback to be successful. I think, when you look at what Kyler Murray's skill set is, he would excel in a playbook or, an offense that is catered to timing routes. Like a lot of these, guys that come from the McVay, Shanahan tree are built around timing. So I was excited about it when I saw that his name is available. I don't think as a head coach, but I think as a coordinator, he'd be great.
Yeah, I think we have to ask ourselves, are the Cardinals in a position to bring him on as only a coordinator? I feel like if they're going to go, quote unquote, big name hunting, try to get the big fish out of the market, McDaniel might be in a position, at least with the Cardinals, to be like, hey, man, I still think I'm capable of running my own show. Like, obviously, I made the playoffs back-to-back years, my first 2 years in Miami. Like, I'm obviously capable of doing this. And for whatever reason, in 24 and 25, it just didn't work out. Jamil, I love the tweet that you put up the other day of having Robert Saleh come in as head coach and having McDaniel run the offense. Like that would be the picture perfect scenario, like A+ home run, knock it out of the park scenario for the Arizona Cardinals. But whether that's rally or not is probably an entirely different conversation of what they can possibly do.
So I totally get the idea. So first off, the Mike McDaniel thing as the head coach. No, do I think he's a firm leader of men? No. However, I think just like the Cliff Kingsbury thing, like although I have my disdain for Cliff Kingsbury, beta male, I think he's failed up everywhere he's went. He's going to somehow fail up after just being fired into potentially the Ravens head coaching job, which is, again, absolutely asinine, but they'll deal with that in their own time. I think when you have your second go around as a head coach, you can then assess what went right and what went wrong. And if Mike McDaniel comes in as the Cardinals head coach and says, okay, I can't be loosey-goosey, fun guy, chill dude, on the sideline all the time or in the press conferences. If you kind of have to
do it that quick, Ben, it can't happen that fast.
Okay, that's okay. So that's I get that. That's fine. Here's the problem with the Robert Saleh, Mike McDaniel thing, which I totally think, yes, for 1 year, that's awesome. One, if he's got OC opportunities with the Lions and the Cardinals, who's he taking? He's going to the Lions probably. So there's that aspect of it as well. But then whatever, right? Let's say he doesn't. Let's say he loves Arizona and Detroit's a POS, and maybe that's how he feels about it. If Mike McDaniel is the OC of the Cardinals, how long is he the OC of?
The Cardinals?
How long? 1 year, 2 years? And that's a problem for me when you see a team like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers who under Todd Bowles about to have their 5th OC. The Eagles very likely could have their 4th OC in 5 years? So continuity matters, consistency matters. And I think in a growing offensive league where all the rules skew offensive, yeah, do I have some concerns with the leadership? For sure. But I didn't have those concerns with Jonathan Gannon's leadership, and look where it sent me. Maybe I'm overcorrecting too much, but this team needs an offensive guy that can at least try to match the likes of Shanahan and McVay. That's kind of where I've continued to go with it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think that I'm not a fan of coaches unless you're like a Harbaugh or someone like that. I'm not a fan of when coaches get fired after their first head coach stint and then they get hired right away to go be a head coach somewhere else. I truly believe that the route that you go is, you were a first-time head coach. It didn't work out. Go be a coordinator like Robert Saleh has done, and I've said it before. The Jets had one of the top defenses in the league every single year. They just couldn't figure it out on offense. And so I think that his second go around as being a head coach, he'll understand I need to get a killer of an offensive coordinator in order for me to just focus on my defense. But I'm a fan of that route. I'm a fan of it didn't work out. You go be a coordinator and prove again why you got your head coaching job, because you can scheme up, you can have a top offense in the league or top defense in the league, and then your name gets put in the hat again to go prove yourself as a head coach after all the things you've learned. So I mean, we're seeing it with Cliff Kingsbury right now. He's getting, some buzz around. I think he interviewed with the Titans for a head coaching job, So unfortunately, they dealt with a ton of injuries, the Commanders, and so the production went down. But I just think, as far as my tweet goes, Robert Saleh, Mike McDaniel, guys that come from the same coaching tree, know what it's supposed to look like. I think, everything I've heard about Robert Saleh, very well respected, throughout the league and amongst players, especially defensively. They've dealt with injuries in San Fran. He's had those guys wired up for every game. That is what you need out of a head coach. You need a guy that can say, when I don't have my number one guy on the roster available, my scheme will take over and I can coach the number two guy to be productive enough to not lose a step. And that's what he's done. And I think Mike McDaniel's fit this roster as it's built right now in terms of the offense with the Cardinals. I think his fit would be perfect.
Yeah, I think touching on that, you look at Saleh's track record everywhere he's been. I mean, even the day he got fired from New York, I think New York had like a top 3, top 5 defensive unit in a lot of metrics. So everybody was surprised whenever that happened. He has a track record everywhere he's been, whether it's New York, whether it's San Francisco. And Ben, I do understand your point, because eventually the only downfall with having a quote unquote defensive guy as a head coach is, let's say you get a Mike McDaniel or some other offensive play caller that's like up and coming, like you are going to lose him. It's inevitable with how the NFL is today. Like that's kind of the trend. But whenever you look at, I think what the Cardinals maybe value, the two boxes they want to check whenever they're looking for a head coach: prior head coaching experience and someone who can keep up in this track meet of an NFC West. Mike McDaniel checks both of those boxes. He's a very innovative guy. I mean, you talk about getting everybody the ball in Miami. Like, how many talented players do the Dolphins have? And everybody seemed to get their own touches. And that's the exact opposite of what we've seen in Arizona the last couple of years. Like, everybody was able to eat in Miami, and that hasn't been the case with the Cardinals the last few years under Drew Petzing. So I think that would be a massive box checked as well by Mike McDaniel. And Jamil already kind of touched on it already, but like the Cardinals had a lot of injuries defensively. Like, you know, it's really hard to ignore that. But like Saleh's ability to coach up guys, like that's what makes the difference between good and great in the National Football League. That's part of why San Francisco is playing in the postseason and Arizona's not. That's why the Cardinals went 0-6 in the division this year. So there's a lot of different nuance, like working things that go into a decision like this: who to hire, who not to hire. I would be a fan of bringing on McDaniel as head coach. Like I know that's not popular. I know like you don't want to hire a guy who just got fired, barring a big name like Harbaugh, but I mean, they have to figure out something. And if we're going to go defensively, like Mike McDaniel has shown there's a path to being a defensive guy in this division while also trying to slow down the other two teams in the Rams and the 49ers.
Okay, but the only difference with the Mike McDaniel thing, like, because I think there's a really clear like connection between McDaniel and Robert Saleh. So I'm okay with bringing those two in right here. But Robert Saleh has, like, Mike McDaniel came from the AFC, right? Came all the way from the Baltimore Ravens. There was no connection here with him in the NFC West. We have yet to see the NFC West really adjust to him over the past couple of seasons. Plus, what is he going to look like with Klint Kubiak? Now, they won 10 games last year. They didn't make the playoffs, but still, they still look pretty enticing. Are we concerned that if you bring Robert Saleh here, Kyle Shanahan knows everything about his defense and can expose it, Sean McVay as well? And then here's the other thing, like two-parter to this. What matters more, schematics or leadership? Because didn't we just have someone who was a leader and that the players loved, and not the schematics? Or again, I know it both matters, but which one matters more?
Well, that's why I think you build your staff around coaches that can do both. That's my whole reasoning for a Robert Saleh paired with a Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel is not the quote unquote leader that you want, but Robert Saleh is, and he can coach. Like he's able to develop guys and get guys to play at a higher level. Something that, I mean, this may be completely left field, but I want to hire, if I'm a GM, I want to hire a coach that is on the sideline during the game. Like I see, people talking about Joe Brady in the chat. Like I think Joe Brady's a phenomenal coach for the Buffalo Bills. He's in the box. To me, I want to see how you interact with players on the field. We've seen Robert Saleh,
really good point,
plenty of times, hyping his guys up or during the timeout, calling them over and making adjustments. Like that is what I want when I'm looking in terms of who's going to be my next head coach. And what the Cardinals have lacked, and I said this during the preseason, on offense, a lot on offense, some on defense, what the Cardinals lack is identity. When you think about these two coaches, especially Mike McDaniel, you know exactly what you're getting out of offense. A lot of motions, a lot of, dressing plays up for later in the game, mirroring plays, a lot of, side-to-side type of making the defense defend side-to-side. That is an identity. And that's what the Cardinals have lacked, in this division and for years. So I think it's the perfect match. If we're talking about in our ideal situation, like, man, you get those two guys, like I said on Twitter or X, it'll feed families for generations.
Or, one season until
season. Hey, if it feeds a family for one season, I am happy.
I am starving, brother. I am starving.
But Ben, those are champagne problems, and the Cardinals are drinking grape juice right now. Like if we get to a point where we are worried about if we're worried about the Cardinals losing their offensive coordinator for promotion, we are night and day ahead of where we're at right now.
100%.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the Bucks would have said the same thing with Todd Bowles, and now they're on their 5th guy. The Lions would have said the same thing about Campbell, Dan Campbell, and now they're they lost their OC, and now they're trying to bring in another guy. I don't know. I get that part. I don't think it's so far-fetched to say, okay, well, what happens in the future if you bring that guy in? I understand the leadership with Robert Saleh. One other thing is also a little concerned with in dysfunction at the New York Jets, he couldn't succeed. In Arizona, with the dysfunction here, is he going to be able to succeed? One of the reasons why I like Kevin Stefanski and Mike McDaniel, and I wasn't on the show the other day, is because you have they're offensive head coaches. 2, they've dealt with dysfunction before and succeeded despite it. And then 3, they have the head coaching experience. Like, that matters to me. I think all those 3 things to me are the biggest boxes that need to be checked, but it's always I
need energy. I need energy for the Cardinals coach. I don't need Stefanski. He's too cool, too calm, too collected. He's had a really good defense. Majority of the time that he's been there hasn't really, I know they've had the Rolodex of quarterbacks, but I need
the playoffs.
I need energy. I need someone that can relate to my guys. I need someone that, like I said, I've seen how they interact with players, and players go to battle for those guys. That's what I need out of my next head coach.
Ben, we talked about this on the episode earlier this week, but like the culture is kind of established, right? Like, we got rid of the Cliff Kingsbury area. Like, they got good high character football guys in that locker room. And now, like, it goes back to the old saying, like, Jimmy's and Joe's, not X's and O's. Like give me somebody who knows how to use personnel. Give me somebody who I know. It's like Jamil brought it up earlier. Like, if there's deficiencies on whatever side of the ball, like, a guy like Mike McDaniel can easily out-scheme that. Easily. He's done it in Miami the last couple of years, and they failed for one reason or another. But I just think, like, especially with the Cardinals, especially with the 7 other teams having head coaching openings, like, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You are going to have to bite the bullet and compromise on something, whether it's a defensive guy who might lose a coordinator in a year or 2, whether it's a offensive guy who doesn't have like head coaching experience. Like you are not going to have everything you want. That's the reality of it.
Well, I just want one thing for the Arizona Cardinals, so I guess I should probably stop being a little spoiled. With that being said, we have a list of coaching candidates. I know these guys went over some of the coaching candidates the other day. The list has changed just a little bit, but I've kind of got a different idea when we talk about this, meaning this coaching candidate list kind of is a little unserious. And are the Cardinals taking it seriously? Is Michael Bidwill willing to open up his pockets and actually pay for a premium head coach? Let's talk about more than that next. Today's episode is brought to you by the lovely folks over at FanDuel. The wild card round is here, and FanDuel is officially in playoff mode. Every game day during the NFL playoffs, FanDuel is giving customers even way more ways to get in on the action, because right now, every NFL playoff game day, FanDuel users get a profit boost pack waiting for them inside the app. Each game day, you'll see a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts you can apply to the bets you like most. Open your profit boost pack first thing on game day and see what boosts you want to apply. The boosts let you lean into your game day instincts whether you're backing, momentum, defense, and quarterback play, or coaching. The boost gives you the more juice on the bets you already like, instead of forcing you to bet something new. Every play feels bigger, and the boosts make your bets feel that way too. You could make your picks, then apply your profit boost to go after even bigger payouts while the playoffs get rolling. So visit FanDuel, an official sports book partner of the NFL, and grab your profit boost back today, every NFL playoff game day. Okay, a lot of talk about like the juice there, and I got to tell you guys, because I wasn't here the other day, It's so nice. I know it's kind of a bit of dysfunction, but it's so nice to have more than just, oh my gosh, this team stinks, topics to talk about. And listen, that's where the coaching carousel comes in. And I tweeted this out yesterday, and sometimes I just tweet things out because it's like a diary for me. I just want to have it there because I have a really bad memory and I want to be able to refer to it later. If it's really bad, I usually just text it to myself. But I tweeted this out. I'm starting to grow more frustrated with the Cardinals coaching candidates. Robert Saleh, Vance Joseph, Anthony Weber, Klint Kubiak, Thomas Brown, Matt Nagy, Raheem Morris, Jeff Hafley. No Stefanski, McDaniels, Harbaugh, Flores, or Mike LaFleur. That one's a little different. I called it an unserious list. I think it's how unserious organizations operate. Now that I've read you guys that list, we've already talked about Saleh and Kubiak before. I'm assuming you guys have talked a little bit about Kubiak. Those are the kind of sexy candidates that people are more drawn to. Outside of that, I mean, really, Vance Joseph, Anthony Weaver, Thomas Brown, I don't know. He might be great. I don't know. Matt Nagy, Raheem Morris, he just got fired. And Jeff Hafley, who might just be Jonathan Gannon reincarnated, but actually good at calling a defense. What is your guys' reaction to that coaching list as a whole? And do you have the same reaction to me that, like, are we really going to take this serious? Or are we just not interested in trying to bring in any of the candidates? Like, even if you guys don't like Stefanski, can we hear the only coach that's gotten the Browns to the playoffs twice out over the last 25 years? Can we hear, John Harbaugh out, or Brian Flores, or one of those guys out, McDaniel, just a little bit? What was your guys' reaction to that list, Donnie?
Yeah, I just want to go on record and say I am all for Brian Flores as head coach. He won me over the moment he showed cover 0 and then dropped them in cover 2. That's like the sickest I've ever seen out of a defensive madman. Like, I've been asking Nick Rallis to be so aggressive with the talented players he's had on this defense the last 3 years, and the Cardinals had one of the lowest blitz rates like in the league. So I think a guy like Flores, who again, like former Dolphins coach, kind of the anti Mike McDaniel in terms of being on the defensive side of the ball, like kind of setting that culture. I will say, like, if he didn't like Tua, he sure as hell is not going to like Kyler Murray. So, like, I don't know what they're going to do with that. But just looking at the overall list of the coaching candidates, are the biggest names always the best? I mean, I think the initial crop of guys was like a strong mix of like, veteran head coaching experience, guys who were quote unquote up and comers in the league. It was like half offense, half defense. So the biggest name I would want them to get, they haven't even talked to yet. And that's Michael LaFleur from the Rams. I would be all in on that. I don't have any strong feelings one way or another on where this list is at. They said they were going to be very diligent. They said they were going to cast a quote unquote wide net for candidates. And I don't know. There's some names I like, some names I don't like, but when you're the Cardinals, it is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, I think, I don't know, a few names I do like. I like the Brian Flores thing as well. I think Brian Flores is a great coach. I like the Robert Saleh, as I've said. I like the Jeff Hafley. I think, he's done a good job, and at some point he's going to get a shot to be a head coach. I don't know, man. I mean, for the Cardinals, it's like you can't miss on this one. You're now in a position where you can't miss on a head coach hire. You just can't. And if it takes you having to be the aggressor in the situation and going and making it happen, that is what you have to do at this point. You've got weapons on the offensive side of the ball. You've got enough on defense throughout young talent and veterans and up-and-coming talent to be a solid team. And so I feel like if you miss, a Thomas Brown, not to knock Thomas Brown, I don't think he's ready to be a head coach right now.
Yeah,
I don't think Raheem Morris is a better coordinator than head coach. Like Anthony Weaver, not sure how, that is being thrown in the mix. Like, let's get serious. Let's not even conduct interviews with guys that we don't think it can get us to the level that the other 3 teams in our division are playing at a consistent level. So I don't know. I'm a little nervous about it. I do think, obviously the coaches on the Rams, I truly believe Sean McVay's not allowing anyone to be, vetted right now until after the season is over, because they do have a legitimate chance to win the Super Bowl. So I understand that there's going to be, guys after the season is over, but man, you got to get serious. And for some wild reason, I don't know why, but I feel like the Cardinals are going to hire like a Mike McCarthy or something. I feel like that's what's going to be the,
I wouldn't be against it.
I would. Because
why? We're talking candidates. Why?
Culture. I don't know. Have you seen the Cowboys did you watch the Cowboys?
Yeah, he had 3 straight 11-win seasons.
Yeah, with a Dak Prescott and a squad. Let's just call that what it is. The Cardinals don't have a Dak Prescott right now. And so if you're going to run it back with Kyler Murray and you pair him with Mike McCarthy, no, that ain't going to work, Ben. I'm sorry. It's just not.
I'm not against. He's not my first hire, but I'm not against it. And here's why I'm not against it, and why I see the list as very unserious. Robert Saleh, I'm gonna be honest with you. I see the leadership. I see the defense of the 49ers outperforming. Outside of that, like, he was with the Jets and it failed miserably.
Who doesn't fail with the Jets?
Who succeeds with the Cardinals? So that should be the other thing of like, okay, he might need some stability. So I totally agree with you in that. But here's the other thing. Vance Joseph, like, what are we doing? Anthony Weaver. Exactly. What are we doing? I know he has been a head coach before. I think I was in diapers when that happened. Anthony Weaver was a bad defensive coordinator. Even if I like Klint Kubiak, that's fine. Have the Cardinals earned the right to turn over every stone and try to go find Mr. Hot Shot coordinator somewhere? Or do they need to be someone who eats their vegetables and bring someone in who has been a head coach before, who has succeeded despite some dysfunction, who preferably would be an offensive guy? Like Mike McCarthy's won a Super Bowl. He's won straight. He's had 3 straight 11-win seasons. I'm not necessarily like pounding the table for Mike McCarthy, but yeah, sign me up. Sign me up for that guy.
Quarterback when he won that Super Bowl.
Dak Prescott, who people would who this year
talk about the Packers. Talk about Aaron Rodgers.
Oh, Aaron Rodgers. Sorry, Aaron Rodgers.
Exactly. Okay. The Cardinals don't have any.
Hey, Donnie, really quickly, who was the quarterback for the Jets last year?
Does it matter?
And who was their head coach?
Does it matter? Doesn't matter.
Aaron Rodgers. Hey, well, he's 52 this year and he's in the playoffs. I'm just saying there is something to that.
Ben, I will offer a counter argument to that. One could argue with where the Cardinals are at, like, you need to swing for the fences with this, because if you choose to play it safe and you get one of those former head coaches who like didn't work out at like another quote unquote more successful organization, like they're probably not going to have a sustained track level of success here. We talked about so much the NFC West and kind of where the league is trending with those young innovative minds. You can make an argument. I'm not saying this is right or wrong, but like you can make an argument that like they have to swing for the fences and hit a home run here. That's why a guy like Michael Flores is so enticing. That's why an innovative guy on whatever side of the ball is so enticing, because like for so long, like the Cardinals have just kind of been stuck. And like, who's going to be the guy to get them out of the mud and into that next echelon of not only making the postseason, but like winning playoff games too?
I get what you're saying. And I don't mean to go a little long, but I want to ask this as well, because this is really the most important thing. Looking at this list, let me just take out Klint Kubiak, who I do think is going to make a lot of money, whoever hires him. If they do, it might be a Ben Johnson scenario where he waits again. Robert Saleh, Vance Joseph, Anthony Weaver, Thomas Brown, Matt Nagy, Raheem Morris, Jeff Hafley. Who in there is going to be in the top 10 paid of head coaches? And if the answer is none of them, is Michael Bidwill taking this seriously? Is he not willing to open up his pockets? Is there a concern there for you guys that there might be?
I mean, unless this list is smoke and mirrors, it's unserious. It's unserious. To be honest, like,
I love Jamil.
Just add me to the list
guy.
at this point. Like, let me come in and I'll give you the best spiel on the whiteboard you ever seen. You might want to hire me. Like, no, yes, this is unserious. And unless it's smoke and mirrors, because they're not going to get Harbaugh. Like, let's just call that what it is. They're not going to get Harbaugh. Yeah. Harbaugh's probably going to the Giants. So, like, this list scares me outside of the Saleh thing. I can stomach the Saleh thing because I get it in terms of what you're saying you want to do from an organization standpoint. Outside of that, man, if they hire, an Anthony Weaver to be a head coach, like, oh God, bro, nothing against Anthony
I do
Weaver.
think
Jamil might quit the show. Jamil might quit,
bro. Like, I'm nervous.
No coach. Yeah, I don't blame him, man.
I'm nervous for the Cardinals. Like, now that I've spent this time.
Dude, it's so great.
I'm
watching
nervous
you
for
evolve.
the Cardinals.
It's so great watching someone who has really dedicated their time this year to watching the Cardinals for really the first time ever, because they're kind of an irrelevant franchise, and kind of slowly see the slip into madness is kind of fun to see. I'm sorry, Donnie, you were speaking.
No, you're good, man. I think some of these interviews too, they know they're not going to hire them as their head coach, but I think some of that is to try to get them in and pick their mind for like potential coordinator spots as well, whether it's like immediately or like maybe down the road. Like, for example, last offseason, Drew Petzing interviewed with the Chicago Bears. We knew damn well he wasn't going to get to that job. We knew damn well Drew Petzing was not going to be hired.
We prayed though.
The Chicago Bears.
We prayed.
Yeah, well, scared to go to church, man. I just think like a lot of these names on the list, unserious. Yeah, but part of me also wonders how many guys are in the postseason right now do they want to talk to that they can't. Like Jamil brought up the Rams and McVay being very protective of the staff and not wanting his guys to be interviewed. But I do wonder with the rules in place, can you wait on the guy? Like if you have a guy in mind for the postseason, like, can you wait on them? Like, do you feel the pressure to make a hire sooner rather than later? And those are things that like the Michael Bidwill and the Cardinals are going to have to balance over the next couple of weeks.
I do think like an Arthur Smith will be someone that will bring. I'm just saying. We're talking about coordinators that are in the playoffs. Like, he's going to get head coaching jobs or interviews again. Like, that's why I feel like, I'm hoping this list is smoke and mirrors, but what do I know? A lot.
To be fair, probably the most. Probably the most on this panel.
I want to put my name in the hat.
Hey, question, Jamil, if you do become the head coach, will you be taking Donnie, myself, or Alex with you?
No, sorry.
All right. Well, then Brian Abdullah in the chat, who said if he is hired, please don't take Ben or Alex with you. I just include you in there.
I'll bring you guys. You know what? You guys will make for a great training staff. I'll put you guys in the training room with the guys, and you guys can be my ears.
I'll stick at the press conference, Jamil. I'll be 10 feet away from you asking me questions.
Hey.
All right. Well, with that being said, we have the list that we have so far. It could obviously change, but we're going to talk about who's the best fit for this team, but not just all these different head coaches. It sounds like we already have some front runners in the room. Out of this list, who is the best fit for the Cardinals? Let's talk about that next. Today's episode is brought to you by Robinhood. Nobody knows your money goals better than you. Robinhood puts you in control of your money with tools that work as hard as you do, locking in every opening, beating your PR, beating it again, channeling that drive into your money. Robinhood puts you in control of your money. Trade stocks, ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all in one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends Advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself, expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney.com. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Robinhood, your money, your move. Okay, so I'm going to read the list off one more time, and maybe someone got on here in the past 20 minutes and I didn't see it. But out of Robert Saleh, Vance Joseph, Anthony Weaver, God, I can't believe he's on this list, Klint Kubiak, Thomas Brown, Matt Nagy, Raheem Morris, and Jeff Hafley, who is maybe not the Donnie said he doesn't have a strong opinion. After I read the list, it kind of felt like he vomited in his mouth a little bit. Donnie, I'll start with you. Out of those guys, who would you think is the best fit? And yes, cite the OC that they might bring over and all that stuff. Go for it.
Yeah, out of the guys you just named, Ben, Saleh is still the guy that sticks out to me. I know Jeff Hafley, you mentioned him earlier. Like, he's kind of like a Jonathan Gannon with a cheesehead who can actually call a defense a little bit better. Those guys you named, man, like, for one reason or another, like, there's no perfect head coaching candidate out there, but there's just a lot of flaws to each and every single one of those guys, Saleh included. Like, Saleh is not without his faults at all. And I just think, like, we talked about this a little bit earlier in the week on the show, but if you're looking to get the Cardinals to that next step, like, we have everything we need from, like, a culture standpoint. Like, now we need results. We need somebody who can elevate this Cardinals franchise to the next level. I think out of every name you had just mentioned, Saleh is probably the guy with that. What I do want to say, whenever it comes to Saleh and Jamil, I'll hand this to you over here in a second. People call him overrated. I see Javi in the chat said it right now, but who's better on that list? Truly.
Yeah, out of the candidates that that they have, I wouldn't say there's anyone better. Maybe Hafley, he's gotten a lot of hype around, the league, and he's well respected as well. But no, I wouldn't say anyone.
I'm assuming that would be your call too, Jamil?
Robert Saleh? Yeah, well, yes.
Is that your number one guy overall? You seem just very high on him. I
think, yes. I mean, I said, if I was to hire a coach, I want to see how he interacts on the sideline, and how his players, what his players think of him. I think that's my number one. If I had to pick outside of that, I do like a Brian Flores hire, and to pair Brian Flores with the Brian Daboll, if Brian Daboll isn't a head coach, I think those two, coming from the New England Patriot tree, where Monty Ossenfort spent time as well, and he knows those guys, is very familiar with those guys. I think if they could do it, they would be a great pair together. Outside of that, I do like the Kubiak thing a little bit.
Yeah,
I like the Kubiak thing a little bit. I don't know who he would add to, his staff in terms of, a defensive coordinator and whatnot, but I do think he's had a lot of success. And so, if we can't mention the Rams staff right now, like, those are my favorites.
Here's my thing with Robert Saleh, why I wouldn't be against it, is because I'm going to be honest with you. I care way more about his leadership and his respect from players than I actually do about his defensive schematics, because I'm more focused on the offensive thing, given the fact that the defensive thing didn't work with Steve Wilkes. Now, that was a long time ago, and it didn't work with Jonathan Gannon, and that just happened. It would be really nice to steal Robert Saleh over, because I think we could agree that he's at least going to do the leadership part of the head coaching really well. Maybe he calls the defense as well. But you're also hurting a division rival. We saw how much the San Francisco 49ers were starving for a real defensive guy when Robert Saleh was gone. They paid him handsomely to bring him back, but the Steve Wilkes experience, we could have told him that wasn't going to work. Their defense was a turnstile of coaches and turnstile of players and starting lineups. But that's the same reason why I think Klint Kubiak is by far my number one, in a way, if we're doing the first-time head coaching thing, bring him into the fold. And the reasoning why I think that beats out Robert Saleh by a lot is the Cardinals don't know what they're doing at their quarterback situation. And I don't want the defensive guy selecting the next Cardinals quarterback, the next great Cardinals quarterback. I want the next Cardinals quarterback to grow with their head coach. Does anyone think Tyler Shuck is this good if Kellen Moore isn't able to kind of grow with him in lockstep, maybe he's good, but is he that? Tua Tagovailoa, when he was playing really well the last couple of seasons and they made the playoffs, like, I think that matters so much. And you not only pair him with the quarterback, but you also hurt the Seattle Seahawks in the same fashion, who have a defensive head coach, which, all right, let's see you bring in another offensive coordinator and replicate that with Sam Darnold again. Kevin O'Connell, Klint Kubiak, let's see you do it with Mr. Outside Hire. So I think Klint Kubiak would be my number one guy, with the caveat of there's just no way he comes here. It's just no way.
I think there is some merit to knowing this division inside and out and being able to have that experience and say, hey, you know what? Like, whenever we sit down and game plan for the Rams or the 49ers or the Seahawks, like whoever it might be, like they know. Like they're not going to be a stranger to it. This isn't going to be some overwhelming task. Like they've done it. They've been in the trenches before. And I feel like at any time you see like the Seahawks and the Niners and the Rams like all play each other, like it's battles. Like those teams legit go neck for neck. I feel like for more games to not whenever they play each other, then you turn on the Cardinals game and they're giving up 40 burgers left and right in the second half of the season. You need somebody who is not only just good for their overall wealth of the team, but like Gannon went 0-6 this past year in the NFC West. I think they haven't beat the Seahawks in like the last 9 games. The 49ers have had their number. Like the Rams have had their number. You need somebody. I'm not so much focused on like stealing a coordinator from a division rival. It's more so it's just, hey, like you know what you're getting yourself into. You know exactly what you're signing up for. And I do think, touching on the quarterback prospect really quick, like that is important, especially if the Cardinals do decide to move on from Kyler Murray and try to get a new guy, whether it be in this draft or next draft. Like it's so ideal to have that like head coach quarterback pairing moving into the future.
Yeah, Ben.
Did I finally get you, Jamil? Did I finally get you?
I mean, no. I kind of said my spiel on who's the best fit, you know. So, dude, it's just one of those things where they gotta nail it.
Oh
you really can't miss on this, you know. So, and I think if you do miss, Kubiak, excuse me. It's okay if you miss and it's him, you know. Outside of that, because I think people are, you know, excited for where he's going in his coaching journey. Outside of that, like if you get a Saleh and you pair him with an offensive coordinator that's really good, I think it'll be a hit. And then, you know, I think same with Brian Flores and Brian Daboll.
So Donnie, you're the insider, if you will, for lack of a better term. I think you're an insider, but I don't want to put a label on you that's not. Well, I got called an ASU insider the other day for my Sam Levitt theory, and everyone flamed me for it. And I was like, nope, not an insider, not at all. Donnie, has Robert Saleh accepted the interview with the Cardinals yet?
I don't think I
haven't seen
any down. At least, like,
okay.
I haven't seen anything about
that. Well, because we know that DeMeco Ryans turned down the Arizona Cardinals head coaching interview last time. Now, was he going to take the Texans job? Probably, but that was a thing.
Yeah, that was set in stone, though, man. Like, that was a perfect opportunity at the right time for DeMeco. Like, because he canceled that Cardinals interview and then one more interview too. Like, he wasn't just like snubbing the Cardinals. And also, like that cycle too, Monty tampered to get Jonathan Gannon too. God. Like the last hire of the cycle, like it felt like they wanted Gannon from the jump, and they were literally willing to do whatever it took to get him. So
tamper to get me, Monty.
Yeah.
What are they going to send us? Are they going to send us a draft pick for tampering with you? What do I get out of this?
Send you a T-shirt. I'll send you a Cardinals T-shirt. Both of you guys.
Yours
would be a two-top though.
Donnie, we went from scout team all the way down to we're just getting T-shirts.
Donnie turned it down, so he gets a T-shirt.
That's right. Just I don't want to be like down in the roughs about it, but I'll spend 1 minute on this just because I think it is kind of funny. Who is the most Cardinal hire out of all these guys? Saleh, Joseph, Weaver, Kubiak, Brown, Nagy, Morris, Hafley. You see the Ian Rappaport, the Cardinals hire this guy, and you're like, of course they did.
Nagy.
Yeah, Nagy's for sure.
Nagy.
I think it's Raheem Morris. And if they hire Raheem Morris,
There's no way. There's no way.
if they hire Raheem Morris, I'm gonna hurl myself into my television set.
There's no way they do that. I think it's gonna be. I think the most Cardinal-esque hire will be Mike McCarthy. They'll say, "Oh, we got a seasoned head coach, and he's seen it." Mike McCarthy does not have the energy to turn a franchise around. So, but I think that's what they're going to lean into.
Well, I'll tell you what. It is very often that Jamil tries to tell other organizations, "Come hire me. Come hire me." He might just be doing anything to get off this show.
All I need is a whistle. I just want a whistle. That's it.
We're gonna get you a whistle, but without the ball in it. So that doesn't actually. It's like the equivalent of giving your little brother a controller that's not plugged in.
That's crazy.
How enticing is the Arizona Cardinals job? And how much does the owner play a role in that? Let's talk about that next. Today's episode is brought to you by Rocket Money. Let's be real, managing your finances can be overwhelming. Between subscriptions you forgot about, bills that keep going up, trying to figure out where all your money actually goes each month. It's easy to feel like you're losing control, and who has time to track every transaction or hunt down hidden fees? That's where Rocket Money comes in, the personal finance app that helps you take control. It finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Listen, I've mentioned this before. I've used Rocket Money before to be able to see which subscriptions I'm paying for I didn't realize I was paying for, whether it's Spotify or Paramount Plus subscriptions I didn't know about. I tell my wife, I was like, how long ago did you sign up for those things? And get rid of those. You don't even use Spotify. You're an Apple Music girl. So listen, I like that it does that. I like that it tracks my spending. Let Rocket Money help you reach your financial goals faster. Join at rocketmoney.com/lockedon. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. One more time, rocketmoney.com/lockedon. All right. So we have all the openings that are, going around the NFL. Are the Cardinals, I'm going to phrase it like this. Are the Cardinals truly one of the worst? Because I feel like that's where it gets spun. And I don't know I necessarily agree with that, Jamil.
Let's say there's 3 tiers. Tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. They are at the beginning of tier 3 in terms of
damn.
And I only say that, and I'm not even saying it in a joking manner, but I only say that because you don't really know what you're getting from the quarterback situation. I think, it's proven you have to have a quarterback in order to, win in the NFL. Outside of that, like that's the big what if, and then Michael Bidwill as well. But just on the list of teams that are available, the Ravens, the Giants, the Browns, the Falcons, the Dolphins, the Titans, the Raiders, like I would put them in that class between the Titans and Raiders in terms of, they have talent on the roster. They've got cornerstone pieces. They've got 2 receivers. Well, they've got 2 receivers. They've got a tight end. You got to get the run game fixed. You got a defense. You got young guys on defense. You got the third overall pick in the draft coming up. Like, there are some good things that you would look at, but also when you sign up to be the head coach for the Cardinals, this division is going to be competitive for a very long time. So you have to understand 7 games ain't getting it done. 8 games ain't getting it done. This division is winning 11, 12 games a year, and somebody from this division is making it to, the NFC Championship game probably for the next 5 years at least. So I think it's enticing, but I don't think it's very high considering the jobs that are available.
Yeah, I would echo everything that was just said. I think you look at the other jobs available, like the Tennessee one comes to mind first. Like, you have Cam Ward, former #1 overall pick. You have a guy like Jeffrey Simmons, Jamil's doppelganger, apparently, according to someone in the chat. Like, you have that. You have a top 5 pick in the draft. You have $100 million for agency. Like, let's go. Like, yeah, like sign me up. And in that division too, compared to playing in the NFC West every year, compared to I don't want to bring this up like disparagingly, but like those NFLPA report guards, like I think they matter. I think whenever you have an owner like Michael Bidwill, who who has like failing grades in almost every aspect whenever it comes to him or the facilities, whatever it might be, like that matters not only from a coaching perspective, but like getting players here as well. Like, and like Tyrann Mathieu did a podcast either yesterday or a couple of days ago, and he was like, these things kind of matter. We're talking about Jonathan Gannon because like players talk to each other. Players talk to each other and be like, yeah, like, this happened, like this didn't happen, like come here, don't come here, whatever it might be. Jamil, obviously you have experience doing that. You could probably talk to that a little bit better than me or Ben can, but it's not like the worst job ever imaginable. There's a lot of things to like about taking this Cardinals job, but you would also be remiss if you didn't acknowledge all of the road bumps ahead and having success out here in the West.
What are your biggest road bumps?
The division, ownership.
Okay.
I feel like not knowing what the quarterback situation is, like the most important spot on the field, like you don't have figured out like one way or another. That's a little bit like unknown to me. Like you're gonna have to bring in like an entirely new staff. Like there's got to be something in the water out here based on like how injured everybody was the last year. There's pros and cons like every other thing, but yeah, this would probably be, I would say, like a tier 3 job.
Damn. I just don't think it's that bad, but that makes me feel like I need to check something at the door there. So I was watching an interview. I was editing someone's podcast who had Daniel Jeremiah on it, and I tend to listen to it as I'm editing it because it helps me put clips or whatever in it. And Daniel Jeremiah was ranking the interviews with my guy Jason ranking the coaching searches with my guy Jason McIntyre, and he had said the way he ranks it is everything he hears matters about the owner. The first thing they ask about is about the owner. And if Michael Bidwill is truly that awful, which I think mostly a dysfunctional owner, runs one of the worst organizations, not just the NFL, but in all of sports, how much is that going to hinder the Arizona Cardinals' ability to get a good head coach? And how much is outweighed by that? And I know you say you don't know the quarterback situation, but doesn't only one job in the Baltimore Ravens? Like, I think there might be 3 tiers, but tier 1 is just Baltimore. You get Lamar Jackson, you get the stability of ownership. Everything else we'll see. But like, does anyone? I'm looking at the all the head coachings right now when you talk about the quarterback. The Atlanta Falcons, Michael Penix, really? New York Giants, Jackson Dart, we think, but we don't know.
Hey, the Falcons are loaded, Ben. The Falcons they're ready. They're ready to go now.
Yeah, they do got guys.
And their offensive line is probably one of the better ones in the league. Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Bijan Robinson, generational. Like, the Falcons are loaded. So,
and ownership's phenomenal.
Yeah, Arthur Blank is willing to do whatever it takes and spend whatever he has to spend. 2 different spectrums,
Okay. Well, when I look at some of the other teams, like, I don't know. I don't know why Miami
it's a Raiders job. You're getting Mendoza or more. Like, you're going to have some kid to mold moving into the future.
But you're also getting, what the heck is his name? The owner. Mark Davis. You're also getting You're also getting bowl cut. And then who knows how much Tom Brady is running that organization? Like, do you want to run into that where Tom Brady might be pulling him onto the strings, and then you got bowl cut coming in trying to undercut how much you spend and where you get?
Bowl cut is hilarious.
Well, he makes $1 billion and he literally gets a bowl cut, which shows the amount of money he'll spend on not just the team, but on his own, looks and ability. But Cleveland Browns, Las Vegas Raiders, I think they're ahead of those teams. And then the Tennessee Titans and the Miami Dolphins, like, I don't know about Cam Ward. I think he played a little bit better down the stretch, but I don't know. And then the Michael Bidwill thing is a massive, massive issue. The other thing is, I know the Cardinals are in a tough division, but if that means so much to you, I don't know if I really want you here. If that really scares you that much, that you're scared of Mike McDaniel, I know it's a thing, but if it deters you from taking a job,
no,
go somewhere else.
I don't think head coaches are discouraged by that. It's just the reality of what it is I'm taking a job and I know that these teams are in the playoffs every year. So I need every resource available in order to, get us to the point where we're at this competitive advantage playing against these teams. I don't think coaches will turn it down because of that. I think I think it just heightens the expectation, right? You get hired to this job and you win 6 games next year, everyone's calling for your name to get fired, because the other teams won 12. And so it just heightens the expectation, and you have to get a guy that is capable of kind of weathering that storm.
How much of the Cardinals roster do we think we overstate with how enticing it is? Do I overstate the value of this roster that I think they're very close to like a Denver Broncos team that had a lot of talent, to where the Cardinals have that. They just got to find the quarterback. And look, I mean, like, it's not impossible. You could move up, and if you like more, bring him in. I don't know. If it's in tier 3, does that mean it's a bad job? How about that?
No, I don't think it's a bad job. It's just
Okay.
calling a spade a spade. This roster is not a bad roster. I'm not saying that the roster's bad. They have weapons everywhere. I do think you have to fix a few areas. You have to address your offensive line, obviously. Quarterback piece, I think you need another running back. I'm sorry. I know you love James Conner, but I think you need someone else. And you've got to establish identity. So there's like pieces of it that, you have to fix right away. But this roster, listen, like I said earlier in the season, there are coaches that would love to have the weapons that this roster has, the DBs when healthy, the defensive line when healthy. The offensive line is not bad. I think you're 1 or 2 guys away from really shoring it up and being able to, finish games in the 4-minute mode, which we don't really see from the Cardinals. So, no, I don't want to say that the roster is bad. I just think you have to all hands have to be in and fixing the Cardinals, and that is the buy-in that you need from top down.
Yeah, I think the playoff expectations that arrived before 2025 was because the roster was so good. It wasn't because the Cardinals have the best coaching staff in the divisionals, because there was
100%.
serious talent on the roster, not from top to bottom, but like on both sides of the ball. Like, you can look at each position group and say, okay, you know what? I want to get off the line. You have a star left tackle and Paris Johnson, who's probably going to get paid this offseason. You have like a really good running back group. You have Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride, Michael Wilson. Then on the other side of the ball, like, that secondary, when healthy, like, should be really good. Like, it should be really good. I think Mac Wilson was extremely underrated before he got hurt. And then like Josh Sweat and like Walter Nolan, and like if Darius Robinson can get better on the defensive line, like those are good pieces. Those can be very, very good pieces. And that doesn't magically change overnight because the head coach gets fired. Like the roster doesn't take a step down because there's not a guy leading the charge. So I think when you look at it and you take a step back from like a macro level scale, like, are they going to be able to go from worst to first in the NFC West? Probably not. But if you do get the right guy in, if you are able, because like they had 5 losses by a combined 13 points. If a couple bounces go
7.
their way,
Maybe combined. Sorry.
Maybe they're 4-2. Maybe they're like 5-3 or something like that. That's a completely different dynamic heading into the second half of the year. It really is.
Well, outside of teams like I don't know. How different are the Cardinals and the Browns? I see it as a more desirable location than I think maybe other people do, but maybe that just means that the other ones are really good. And I'll tell you what, man, I can't believe we have 8 head coaching openings. 25% of dude, we could have 10 by the end of the week.
Yeah, there might be more. That's what there might be more.
If the Bills and Packers lose,
people are gonna come available for sure. The difference between the Browns and the Cardinals, though, is the Browns have 4 or 5 quarterbacks on the roster that they just gotta pick which one and make it right. So that's the difference. Whereas the Cardinals, like, their situation, here's what I'll say: the faster that you make the decision, the better it is when it comes to hiring a coach. If you come out right now and you say, we're moving on from Kyler Murray, good for you, because now coaches at least know, okay, I've got to go in there and we've got to figure out what we're going to do from a quarterback standpoint. If you ride this whole wave up until OTAs of like, or draft night until, oh, we don't know, we're not sure, like that doesn't do, I mean, obviously internally they'll probably know, but they're not going to tell us. But, you know, that doesn't do anything good in my eyes. Well, if you're done, say you're done. Why not? You know, I don't think they're done though. I think he's going to be back.
Kyler?
Yeah, I think he's coming back.
I think it was Brian in the chat who called me a clickbait artist because I said that. He said that Kyler. I think he went after you too and said, "Who made Ben do that?"
Probably, I didn't see it.
Well, you got a lot of notifications. You're a busy guy, if we're being fair.
Fairly busy. One thing about me, like, you know, when people troll, I just giggle.
Oh yeah, it's hilarious.
Yeah,
Isn't it funny?
Yeah,
whenever a sports opinion pisses someone off, I'm like, let's go outside, guys. It's not that big of a deal, all right?
Yeah.
Not that big of a deal.
That's what we're
Donnie,
gonna do.
yeah, it's a good time. Anyways, with that being the case, Brian wants you to know that it was not trolling. We are being clickbait artists when it says Kyler Murray might be back next year, but that's okay because Brian always shows up, supports, and he lets us know. And that's what we want to hear. That's what we want to hear. Like a coach on the sidelines rallying with us or screaming at us. That's what we like. Do us a favor, hit that like, share, subscribe button, follow us all on all social media platforms. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. That's where Jamil's doing his dances on TikTok, and Donnie's posting a new selfie every day at the gym on Instagram. It's great. That's where you should be. It's where you guys should be following him. With that being said, we will talk to you guys next week in the next edition of the Cardinals Squad Show. Appreciate you guys being here, and thanks for hanging out with us.